Hey everybody, I'm John the Other, obviously. And I have just watched a video from the Conan O'Brien show where he interviews the actor Jeff Goldblum. And they talk, amongst other things, about the circumcision of Jeff Goldblum's newly born son. And Goldblum, who is a guy I like as an actor. I mean, he's he always plays interesting weirdo type of characters, and I find him entertaining. I don't know what... I don't really know anything about him as a person because, you know, these Hollywood figures, their public persona is largely a fabrication. It's largely part of the marketing of their, you know, personal brand name as an actor or performer or musician or whatever. But Goldblum goes on to Conan, and they spend a couple of minutes joking, like it's one of the funniest things in the world, about the mutilation of Jeff Goldblum's son. Now, of course, they use the word circumcision, but circumcision is a sanitizing word. It's a name of a medical procedure that is largely completely unnecessary and has minimal, if any, therapeutic value, and in fact is a mutilation of an infant's sexual organs. Now, the Western world has largely come to realize that mutilating an infant's sexual organs is like a grotesque, an amazingly vicious and cruel thing to do when we do it to little girls, although we have not yet figured out that we're doing virtually the same mutilation to little boys, and we don't seem to grasp yet as a society that that's like completely monstrous. But it's not my goal here to paint Goldblum as a monster, or to convince you that he is or anything like that. I want to just point out that him and Conan, they spend this couple of minutes joking, ha ha ha, this is an entertainment show, right? This isn't social activism other than, you know, maintain the status quo. Goldblum isn't there to proselytize in favor of mutilating children. He's just telling a funny story. And it's not until Andy Richter, who is the sidekick on the Conan show, jumps into the conversation when he's challenged on his assertion that he did not have his son mutilated. And of course, this is a bit outlandish. They treat this as an outlandish thing, and they attempt at first to shame him, like comparing, well, you want your son's penis to look like your own. And Richter says, no. Richter says, I was circumcised. Richter quite correctly uses the word mutilation to describe what Goldblum had done to his son. And the crowd and the two other hosts, Goldblum and Conan, rapidly change their position, like instantaneously. As soon as it's pointed out that this is mutilation, it stops being funny, and it's not like they apologize for the joking part. It's just that, like, this was funny, and now this is serious, and you don't mutilate children. And there's no, like, awareness in this presentation, in this comedy thing, this talk show, that seconds earlier, ha ha ha, they're joking, and they're talking about the surgeon who sang a song while doing it, and that they sang it together, and it was a great old time while they mutilated a child. And I think that when we talk about trying to put a stop to mutilating children, sexual mutilating children, I mean, I'm using that word on purpose to point out that that's what it is, and if you read the literature, you can see that it is a trauma. It induces extreme pain. Many of the infants to whom this is done pass out from the shock of being mutilated with no anesthetic, because you really can't calibrate anesthetics for infants because it's so dangerous to anesthetize them. You risk killing them. So they do it with no anesthetic, and of course they pass out from the pain, from the shock. And brain scans of sexually mutilated infants show that it induces a very serious brain trauma, which has lifelong permanent effects on brain function. This is no small thing being done to little kids. And so I'm not here, though, to point out, to make it like if you circumcised your child, you're a monster, or if you advocate circumcision, you're a monster, because I don't think that's actually useful. I don't think monsterizing people is going to like change anything. But what I observed in that interview was that these two hosts, Conan and what's his face, Jeff Goldblum, they are completely, they just blow with the wind. They blow in whatever direction the social narrative is. And this is so apparent in this little condensed interview of theirs. They're joking about mutilating an infant, and then in the next moment, the other host, what's his name, Andy Richter, says, well, I didn't mutilate my child because it's mutilation. And then they're, that's very serious. People, for the most part, don't have a strong moral compass. People are not against mutilating little baby girls, by the way. They're not against mutilating little baby boys. That's obvious because we keep doing it. But we're also really not significantly against mutilating little baby girls based on an internal moral compass going, wait a minute, that's shockingly wrong. It's simply the social pressure, the social consensus. The group goes, that's bad, that's good. That's bad, that's good. So people respond to the social mores of their peer group or their social group or their community. And so what is objectively a monstrous, vicious, and violent act to do to an infant, like a newly born infant, it's almost incomprehensible to me that we still do this. It isn't that we have a lack of morality, that we're fine to just mutilate an infant, or that we have a morality, that we have a positive morality, that we don't do that to little girls. It's that our so-called morality is largely just social consensus, that we have agreed that this is good and that's bad, not an internal evidence-based or logic-based moral compass that mutilating a little child, little tiny child, is in the vacuum of opinion, like with nobody else around me to either support my position or to condemn it. I have a clear idea of what is a moral act and what is an immoral act. But as a society, that's not how morality works. It mostly works by just agreeing with the crowd around you. And I don't know what the conclusion of, like, how does that inform, but I think it's interesting to understand that, and I'm not saying we have no moral compass, it's just that it's a tiny little voice, and it's largely washed over and overwhelmed by group consensus. Anyway, I'm John the Other. Thanks for watching this rambling and incoherent rant of mine, and have a lovely day. Okay, so this is, the post-video little chat. Last night was the MGTOW meetup at Mahoney's Pub up on the UBC campus, and we had a pretty good turnout. It's really interesting and in-depth conversation. We were there till almost, I guess, 11 o'clock or so. And the interesting thing, though, is we had no students from UBC, despite the fact that we went to Mahoney's Pub on the UBC campus as a way to make it as easy as possible for UBC students who were interested in men's issues to come and talk to us. Nobody showed up, and I suspect, my theory, and I could be wrong, but my theory is that they didn't come, there were none, because there was a fear of being seen to associate with an evildoer like John the Other. And because, you'll be seen by other people on campus, and then you'll be blacklisted and harassed. And so the meeting was highly successful for those who were not UBC students, and what we're going to do is do this again on an ongoing basis. But if you'd like to come, I guess the way to go forward is we choose another location and send me an email indicating that you would like to come, and you'll know the location. And we will do it either, depending on the level of interest, either weekly or monthly MGTOW meetups going forward. And as always, thanks very much for watching or listening, and have a lovely, lovely day.